Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. For come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Balthazar.
And welcome to the first of 3 episodes that are specifically going to be the Alleycat anniversary spectacular, I suppose we will call it. We'll have a very special guest on for the episodes tomorrow and the day after, but this one is just a Q&A episode where we do one of these every single year. Well, we try to do more than one every single year, but we always do one around this time for the anniversary special. We have a lot of questions, most of them submitted by Scott Wildcat, so we'll get all the other ones out of the way first because that's the bulk of the questions. So we'll just go ahead and dive straight into it. And this first one I feel like is actually can also serve as a kind of recap on the year. It's from GoCats153. Why can't the baseball, scratch that, why can't the athletic department as a whole finish out a season strong? Football starts strong, then goes 8-4 or 9-3. Basketball just sucks, and baseball went from hosting to being in the bubble. I think this is an interesting question because all of those have very, very different reasons for why they finish that way.
Yeah, I like this question because it is something that's been consistent across most of the department. Honestly, the only sport that I can think of off the top of my head that didn't really fall in that category, at least among the major sports, is probably volleyball. But like theirs was just a case of too little, too late. I guess you could argue that men's basketball did actually finish stronger, like in the latter part of the season, because like their best stretch was kind of in that February area. So, I mean, it didn't matter, but that was a whole separate problem. But I don't know. Ace, you said you think they all have different reasons. What are those reasons?
Well, football, I'm looking at it from a micro sense, as in this year. Football had a bunch of extenuating circumstances happen towards the back end of the season. Basketball, like you said, it was just kind of always bad this year. Baseball, I kind of expected it because I was waiting for the return to earth with the team being so young. And yeah, I'm not going to say that it's a disturbing pattern because, I mean, I think the women's basketball team has a tendency to fade towards the back end, but I don't think that's an athletic department problem. I think that's they have the scout on this problem. So, yeah, it's all for very different reasons. That does not mean that it's not frustrating because it is, especially when didn't you and I figure out the date for especially women's basketball was like January 10th or something like that? That would always just explode.
It's definitely later than that because like we always start Big 12 play, or I say always, most of the time we're starting Big 12 play pretty strong. And then it's kind of into that like mid-February area. It's kind of like those last like anywhere from 4 to 6-ish, maybe 7 games where the wheels just kind of fall off for some reason. And I think that you might be on the money with where the scouts out on us. Like maybe every other team in the Big 12 just like collaborates and like shares film to defeat the K-State Wildcats, which will show that if true, that would be an inspiring story. And also I think speak a lot to maybe Mitty's coaching ability, because it's like, well, if it takes the entire league, I think that's a weird tangent.
Yeah. Because I think the last time that you can definitively say that a team finished a season strong was the Big 12 championship football team, as well as, obviously the Marquise Noel run, which I will forever call it. But I get it. I get the frustration for it, but it is a pattern, but it's one of those patterns where it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird. It's not you could point to a systemic problem.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure what the pattern would be. I think the only one that you could, if there was a department-wide thing, which I don't think there is, but if there was one, it would have to be like something with like strength and conditioning department wide, I think, which I do think that is actually part of the reason with football. And that's not even a secret. Like, I think the Kleinmans like kind of got on the record with that and saying they've kind of faded down the stretch because of conditioning, and their guys just beat up and tired. Like, and for whatever reason, we're not handling it as good as some other teams are. Like, and you've kind of been able to see that, because I mean, if you like go to last year, and like Des Purnell's a great example. Like, watch him in like the first 3 to 4 games of the year, like he's like flying around the field, and by the end of the season, like he's like running through sand. Like, so that's that's maybe an issue with that, but I'm speculating here. I don't have a great answer.
No, I don't think there is one, which isn't a satisfying answer, but that's our answer. So the next question comes from Mr. Larry Quinn. First one is, what did Connor do to make me Scott Wildcat's favorite? I'm not Scott Wildcat's favorite. That's the trick.
Yes, I am Scott Wildcat's favorite, which the reason for that, I think, is exclusively because you still claim Mizzou fandom. And I think that's like, I think it's kind of snowballed from there to a bit of a bit, but it did have like a not completely like unsubstantiated beginning. Like you can say whether it's fair or unfair, like, but you could say there's a legitimate, like, compelling government interest there.
Oh, someone's studying for the bar exam.
Yeah. I would say that it probably passed rational basis. Like,
but does it pass intermediate scrutiny?
Well, this isn't a sex-based classification, so not
there. There you go, buddy. We're getting some bar reviewing today.
Don't go to law school.
Don't go to law school. The next question, also from Mr. Larry Quinn, is, should K-State add NCAA women's softball? We get this question, I think, pretty much every time we do an off-season show. The answer hasn't really changed, and it's not going to change in the revenue sharing era. In fact, the reason why it won't happen probably got worse. But my heart says yes, and there are multiple teams that I can think of that I would replace in a heartbeat for a K-State softball team. But the reality is it's just not financially feasible for K-State to do, especially given how revenue sharing is going to work in the future, unless the next AD is able to fundraise just an absolutely insane amount of money, and we're able to sort of, this is going to sound weird, but sort of leech off the popularity from the southern part of the state with softball, because in the southern part of the state, especially in Southeast Kansas, softball is actually extremely popular. We're both from there, so we can attest to that. And I think most of that has to do with the fact that Oklahoma's right there. Yeah. But yeah, heart says yes, rationally no.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly where I'm at. Like, if like money wasn't an object, I would say like absolutely, like, start a softball team. Like, I would go to games. Like I think it would be super fun. Like, the softball World Series is going on right now. Like, and like Texas Tech's playing OU tonight. Texas Tech, the all-world $1 million lady, Nyjah Kennedy, Topeka, Kansas native. Like, I'm not saying that K-State would have got her. I'm just saying, like, there's softball talent in the state. Like, Wamigo, their starting pitcher, she signed with Tennessee, and she was like 4A player of the year like 3 years in a row or something crazy like that. Like there's softball talent in the state for sure. I don't know if there's enough to make K-State a top dog in softball. Like, KU like was pretty like okay this year and missed the tournament, but like, if nothing else, it would be a fun sport to have. And like, if you could get to like roughly the level of our baseball program where they're like able to go on these sort of runs every now and again, like, that'd be kind of fun. Like, I think, like, I'm not going to sit here and say it wouldn't be fun. Like, I think it'd be super fun. I just don't think it's going to happen, which I trying to balance like me actually wanting this with me also being like a wet blanket on this. Like, it's like, so I sympathize. Like, I wish we could do it, but it's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah. The next question is from K-State Man 14. If you had $250,000 and 25 hours to spend it, would you lend, we'll say an individual, $10,000? Sure.
Yeah. I mean, no rules. Got to offload that 250,000. If you're the first person to get to us and ask for 10,000, sure. You've long been a staple of K-State Twitter. I consider it a performance bonus.
Performance bonus, the good noodle sticker.
Congratulations. Here you go.
But the next set of 3 comes from close friend of the show, Sarah. And, well, sorry, I've clearly tickled myself, I think, with that one. The first question from Sarah: if you could pick K-State's next international game, what country would you choose? That is a good question. Ireland is a very good option.
Oh, fun fact, she, I think, left something out of this question when she typed it out, but she did say it when we spoke about it, like before. Can't be a place that K-State has played before.
Okay.
Or is going to the schedule to play. So, like, no Ireland and then no Japan. Because
No
we played
Ireland, no Japan. Okay. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing K-State play in Germany, because I think Germany and Canada are kind of the other big football markets in the world. Granted, both of them are running a very, very, very distant second and third, but I like the idea of playing a game in Germany, just because I think that would also be you'd also be able to draw a pretty decent crowd there, and it'd be introducing an audience to college football that really hasn't had much introduction to it, because Canada, you're still in the same general time zone. Germany, whenever college football is going on, it is at best like 7 p.m. and at worst 4 in.the.morning. So, yeah.
I'm right there with you with Germany. Like, that's exactly where I was going to say. There's intriguing-ish options like elsewhere, but I don't think they do as well as they would in Germany. I don't really care about having a game in England. Like, it'd be fine, but that'd be whatever. Canada, I think, does actually have college football. I think they might have a D2 school in Vancouver. Like, that's in the NCAA, but I think they have their own separate college league as well. But I don't remember. But no, Germany, I mean, like, you're right on though. Like, American football is weirdly kind of like I won't say a big deal, but it's like followed in Germany. Like, one of my roommates for 3 years in undergrad at K-State, his dad is German from Germany. His mom is from Kansas. He grew up in Germany, and his dad's like a diehard Chiefs fan. Like, and I don't know if he's ever even been to a Chiefs game. I think he has, but like the Chiefs are going to Germany, so I'm sure he's over the moon about that. But so, football is absolutely like a deal in Germany. I think it'd be cool to have a game over there.
Yeah, if not Germany for me, Australia, just because I think it'd be interesting.
That'd be neat. I'd like New Zealand just because I want to go to New Zealand, but like that's an entirely selfish reason. I don't know if it'd be any better like for like a crowd than Australia. It'd probably be worse, like because there's fewer people there. But
yeah. The next question from Sarah: what is a local food item or drink that you would want to see featured at the bill? Locking in Smoking H barbecue, baby. Oh my God. The fact that I've had it exactly once and I still remember it was at the local business day for K-State baseball in the right field concourse. Smoking H Meats. I think they were at Manhattan Brewing Company for a while. Oh my God.
Yeah, that place is fantastic. They have a really good barbecue sauce. It's like a honey sort of deal. Like, and that place is super good. Like, and then I think I've only had it like twice. Like I had it once at Manhattan Brewing, which I don't think they're actually at Manhattan Brewing anymore. Like I think they have a different barbecue person there now. But Smoking H is around here somewhere. Which, speaking of Manhattan Brewing, I guess that's probably like the other correct answer. If you're gonna have a correct answer for what to get into the stadium, get like a couple of their beers going, which I mean, that opens a whole other can of worms with where K-State's really lagging behind on that front. But that's really not our soapbox. That's kind of Scott Wildcat's territory, I think. Not that we don't agree, but he's going to sell it better, I think, than we could.
Yeah. Last question from Sarah. Maple and Winston, how would they fare as K-State recruits, including their likely position and skill sets? If you don't know, Maple and Winston is Connor and Sarah's cat, respectively. And I will include my cat, Wilma, or Wunkus. I always just call her Wunkus.
And for what it's worth, she did ask to include Wunkus. I just forgot to include it in the text on Discord. So.
Okay. So why don't you give just the sort of lowdown about Maple and Winston? You know, like what are their measurables here?
Well, Maple is smaller, but certainly more agile, maneuverable. She's faster, and I think perhaps most importantly, she's a lot smarter than Winston, because Winston's really dumb. like he's a happy cat, but he's not very smart. But Maple, I think, is going to do pretty well as like a running back, I think, because she does have that explosiveness. And she can move side to side well, but she also, despite being a little undersized, is pretty feisty and holds her own. Winston is a bigger cat. He looks even bigger than he is because he's got real fluffy fur. But he, I think, because of how stupid he is, I think he has to be an edge rusher because I don't think there's anything else he's capable of learning. He's pretty physical, so I think he'd do okay. But we'd have to get him to stay focused, I think, would be one of the more challenging aspects of getting Winston to do anything on a football field.
Yeah. I agree with your assessment on Maple. I do think she's very, very shifty. My assessment for Winston would be fullback because I do not believe that he's capable of anywhere else. Either that or cheerleader because of how damn loud he is.
That's true. He is a loud cat. He doesn't meow loud. In fact, he doesn't meow much at all, but he purrs very loud. We did a Apple Watch decibel reading, and he crossed 60 decibels on his purring. Which the world record for loudest purring cat is like 65 or 66. So he is quite loud. So that could be an intimidation factor. So put him at fullback, H-back, and like just have him like purring the other side. Like they might get scared.
It scared me. I didn't think he was a cat. I thought it was an alien.
Yeah, he's unique. He's unique.
That's a great way to put it. As for Wunkus, she's also pretty small, but that's also because she hasn't really grown into her frame yet. You know, she's just a young cat. She can take care of that with some strength and conditioning. I really think that she would fill out to be a really, really nice defensive back, specifically a corner, because she also has that same shiftiness, but she also has really, really quick hands and really, really quick recovery speed. And every time that I put a laser on a wall, she is on that. Like, she will climb that wall immediately. So, yeah, I think defensive back for Wunkus. I'd say that Maple probably ends up the best recruit out of the three, just because I think she would take the coaching the best.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure before I got Maple that she may have spent a little time on the streets. So she's definitely tougher than Winston is. I don't know what Wunkus's backstory is.
She has not spent a single day on the street. She was born. I got her 3 weeks later.
Okay, yeah, the Maple definitely has the most grit of the group. But that's what's going to make Maple so valuable as a running back. She's going to have the physicality to drive through tackles. And she deals with getting tackled by Winston all the time, so she's used to it as well.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. And now we get into the questions. The rest of these are from Scott Wildcat or Bosco's Boys. So Scott Wildcat, but from a different account. So we'll just go ahead and start off with the first one of his. How does it feel to be the second oldest active K-State fan podcast? I literally had not thought about that until I read this question.
Yeah, me either. I had zero idea that was the case until he said that. So that was kind of jarring.
Technically, we're the second oldest podcast in general, aren't we? Unless, wait, is Bring On the Podcast still going on?
I don't think so. The Bring On the Cats SB Nation site, I don't think that they do. If they do, it's not regular, like at all. Like, 'cause I don't check in on that site very much, but I do always check in on their roster countdowns for kickoff because I don't know, it's just something to look at every day. But like, yeah, there's that. I'm not sure how long ago Powercat has had a podcast, which like that could be like a potential one that's like been around longer. And I think Stan and Wyatt actually do have like a podcast that they kind of do. They just don't really market it at all. Like, but it is through the athletic department. I don't know how long they've been doing that, but we're without a doubt the second oldest for fan podcasts. But once we start throwing in media and stuff, I've got no idea. Then you also have to ask, does that count like the game from K-Man? Because they upload to Spotify and stuff like that. So, which I don't think they should count that because that's just unfair. Because they have professional production.
Yeah. It kind of feels weird to think about because I think of all of the fan podcasts, we're also the youngest of them.
I think so. Like Sans, like whatever podcast they have going on at 91.9, but that typically kind of rotates. John Grove's been doing it for a while though. He's kind of been the longest tenured as far as I can remember. Those are mostly like 1-year deals from what I recall. But no, yeah, like it's kind of weird, like still being the youngest ones because like we were by far the youngest when we started, and that remains. So
yeah. So I think the best way to describe our feelings is it's weird to think about it because it doesn't feel. There are some days where I feel like we've done the show for about as long as we've had, and then there are others where I'm like, we've only done the show for like a year or two. No, we've been doing this for 4 years.
Yeah, I often forget how long it's been, like relatively speaking. I mean, like 4 years isn't like that long, but it is a while at the same time. Like, I mean, that's like a no red shirt full athletic career in college. Like, kind of crazy to think about.
So yeah, just weird to think about. Next question from Scott. If you had $250,000 and you personally had to spend it in 25 hours, all transactions need to be completed in that time frame. What are you buying? Nothing you can buy can ever be gifted or resold. You see, I was going to say house until I said all transactions need to be completed in that time frame because closing takes like a week. Nothing can be gifted or resold. Well, I'm trying to see how long I can get just auto-renewed season tickets or like advanced season tickets. I'm going to ask if that's a thing that happens for every K-State sport. Pay off all of my student debt, probably pay off Connor's as well.
Well, that's how I'm using part of my 250, so you shouldn't use your 250.
Oh, okay. So we'll pay our own stuff. I know that this is the plot of Brewster's Millions, except for instead of $1 million, it's $250,000, and instead of I think it was a month in Brewster's Millions, it's 25 hours. I'm not buying an iceberg. I don't know. I'll probably buy just a bunch of premium tickets for stuff, and then just start getting gifts for people.
Well, that's the thing is you can't gift.
Oh, can ever be gifted or resold. That's right.
Which that's what keeps getting me on this is because because before I read that part, I was like, oh, I'll just get like a suite in the West Side, but I don't really want to actually use it, so I'll just like let other people use it all the time. But no, I can't do that.
No, I'd still get a suite. Probably a bunch of. I'd still probably get season tickets to a bunch of different games. Just make a bunch of advance payments on my subscription services. It's like, hey guys, I have this really weird situation. I'm gonna give you $25,000. Can you give me my Spotify for the next 10 years?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what else I do. I might try and get like some K-State like memorabilia, like some really rare stuff that, but I can't get too much because if I get a lot, then I'm gonna want to like gift some of it or resell it at some point, and I can't do that. So it's gonna have to be like signed like game used jerseys from like a Big 12 championship or like I don't know, like Michael Beasley's SpongeBob shower curtain or something like that. Like
you get the receipt.
yeah, it's gonna have to be something like that. But the no gift or resells where it like gets really tough because it's like there's very little that I'm thinking about that I'm gonna have like permanently, like probably for the rest of my life. That isn't like something that I could like get and still have money left. Because like one option's a car, but like I don't have a dream car. I don't really care about cars all that much. So like that's not an option for me either. Like I don't know.
I mean, I feel like the cheating answer is by controlling stock in a company. You're not selling it; you're just getting dividends for the rest of your life. But like,
Oh yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, that's a pretty good answer actually. Yeah, maybe buy like I'm like some or like commission some statues for like outside of the bill for like some all-time players or like some of the Trailblazers or something. I don't know if that counts as a gift. We'd have to do something where I retain title to the statues. I just put them there.
Well, if you want to look at it from contract law, we're going to do more. We're going to do more review here.
This is my worst subject.
Mine is probably still contract law too. But I mean, would the cash just be consideration as to not render it a gift? Because you're doing it in exchange. Like gifts and contract law are a very specific thing. So.
That's true, but like the issue that would arise there is if I got any consideration back, it might be considered reselling as part of a transaction or like a sale of goods. Well, it's not goods. It's like it's not movable enough. But and then you can't gift it either under the rules of this question that Scott has crafted, you bastard. But
I'm just gonna go with like a few new cars and season tickets, and then whatever I can squeeze out of different subscription services.
$250,000 worth of Avery Johnson lemonade.
Damn it! That was gonna be the next joke I was gonna make.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
You're good. You beat me to it. Yeah, that's a good question. It made us do a think. Next question from Scott Wildcat. Who will be the 5 offensive linemen with the most snaps this year? Hecht, Fitzpatrick, Langang. Now that this is where it gets complicated, which I'm going to go with JB Nelson and Taylor Poitier.
I think mine is probably identical to yours. Like I similarly am a little skeptical of John Pastore's ability to stay healthy the entire season. I think we'll be seeing a lot of JB Nelson anyways. So I think I'm right there with you, honestly. Like I was gonna say something different, but like I think I would just be like making things up, and that would be unethical. So I won't do that.
I think that the sleeper answer is Langang kicks out to right tackle, and then Nelson gets booted down for someone like, I don't know, Shunky or someone like that. But
yeah, like Shunky has like an absurd like preseason camp or whatever. So, but I think all those guys probably still like a year away, other than maybe Hawkins, but he's going to be log jammed.
mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. If you had 7 days where you were the K-State AD with unchecked power, what would you do with that week of power? 2 immediate things came to mind. No reentry, beer sales. Those are 2 things that I linked together. I am nuking the soccer program from orbit and establishing a softball program.
yeah, I think that's a good one. Gosh, I think I'm going to allow, because for whatever reason it seems like we're barely allowed, but I'm going to, whoever's stopping us from wearing more alternate uniforms in football, I'm going to make sure that a roadblock is gone, but still give reverence to the current uniforms. But ultimately, I don't want to like micromanage that too much. Just like, hey, let's wear white helmets every once in a while, like other than like once every blue moon. Other than that, it's there's lots of stuff where it'd be easy to do it if this was like pre-NIL rep share era. Like I'd say like, oh, like completely like renovate Bramlage, like the concourse and stuff like that, or like build a new basketball arena or do all sorts of new things. But like that would be incredibly financially irresponsible. And once my reign was over, like the AD would be just absolutely screwed. So I don't want to do that.
Sort of building on your idea of alternate uniforms, I would also say that I would issue a decree that football must at least wear alternate uniforms twice a year.
Fair enough. That's a decent rule. I don't think there's any issue with that. Trying to think about if there's anything else I would do. I'd allocate more funds to football sports staff. I want more analytics guys, more like washed up P5 head coaches and analyst roles, or like special assistant roles. Like Gary Patterson surely like is looking to come back to K-State and like complete what was once written.
It's Patterson.
So, it is at long last. It's Patterson. Like you got to bring him in to complete the prophecy.
It's been written in the stars.
Yeah. Oh, and back to what I said earlier about statues. We're putting up statues of K-State Trailblazers. So they're all getting statues outside of their respective arenas or fields or stadiums. So, like Dave Baker, you're getting a statue outside of Toynton, buddy. And we're renaming the field to Dave Baker Field. So, which I don't know if the field actually has a name or if it's just Toynton Family Stadium, which if we haven't named it Dave Baker Field, why haven't we? Unless there's like an existing name that nobody knows, kind of like how the football field's Wagner Field. Like, but like nobody.
I straight up forgot that.
There used to be a sign on the old veneer complex before they redid it that said Wagner Field, and there's just not really a good spot to put it now because it's just all bleachers now. But like you used to be able to actually see the building, so there was a sign on it that said Wagner Field. So I think it's still Wagner Field, but nobody says that. I don't, unless they changed it, which I don't know. Maybe they did.
Yeah, so that's I think that's a pretty decent list.
Lazy River as well.
Right, the Go Emaw Lazy River, connecting all the Big 12 schools. There we go. Who's going to stop us?
No one. We have unchecked power for a week.
Exactly. Next question from Scott. Boxers or briefs? Boxer briefs.
Boxer briefs. I'm a man of boxer briefs for sure. It's the perfect middle ground of freedom and security. So.
If you could have 5 drinks for free for life, always stocked in your place of residence, what 5 drinks are you choosing? Both versions of Dr. Pepper, as in normal Dr. Pepper and then Diet Dr. Pepper. Sparkling ice, carbonated lemonade. Defusky Island Distillery Blueberry Lavender Vodka. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Water, Diet Pepsi. I'm kind of running out of like drinks I actually care enough about to have permanent access to already, because I don't drink much alcohol really. I think that's what he's getting at, so I'll throw him a bone here and say like, oh gosh, what's it called from Manhattan Brewing? It's the barrel batch that they did, where it was the pumpkin beer that was aged in whiskey barrels. I would like a lifetime supply of that. Like, that stuff is fantastic. Other than that, Avery Johnson lemonade. You gotta
get Avery Johnson's juice.
Yeah, I would love a lifetime supply of Johnson juice. Just guzzling that by the gallon. I want to have one more. Maybe the Fairlife chocolate milk protein shakes. Things.
Yeah.
Those things are heavy. It's basically just it. I was about to say it's like drinking chocolate. It is.
Well, I got news
like,
for you,
drinking
buddy.
chocolate ice cream. Like it's super tasty, but it's super filling.
Would you replace that with Call Hall chocolate milk?
Maybe that's something to consider. Be supporting a local business over Fairlife, I suppose. Which, like, nothing against Fairlife, but I'd rather support a local business, I guess. So, yeah, that's something to do. And also, Call Hall's closed right now because they're building the new ag thing, like the Ag Innovation Hub, I think is what it's called. I drove past it yesterday. It's huge. Like, it's really big. It's like right up to the street. So it's very imposing.
Didn't they eat up the old rodeo arena?
Yeah, Weber's, like, the old arena is just gone. They raised it. Like, I think the actual classroom parts of it are still there, which they should have honestly knocked that down too, because that building's a disaster. But they're keeping it. I think they might be renovating it. Maybe they should. And I think they're renovating Call Hall as well. And Call Hall's getting a new space, which is probably good for like managing crowd of people, to have like a big Call Hall space. But I'm gonna kind of miss the old space. Like, it had the classic ice cream parlor feel to it.
It was very quaint.
Indeed.
Next question for Scott: would you rather have premium season tickets for life for K-State football, or for all non-rev sports? You see, here's the thing. If I thought I was going to be living in Manhattan, I would say all non-rev sports. The way that my life is progressing makes that seem extremely unlikely. So it would be harder for me to justify all non-rev sports, because I'm still going to do my damnedest to go to every single K-State football game, no matter where I live. I can't make that same promise for non-rev sports. So I would probably choose K-State football over all non-rev sports, but it is a decision that I make with a heavy heart and with the caveat that I'm not living in Manhattan.
Fair enough. And I think I would probably say the same if I like wasn't living in Manhattan either, or like, I don't know, like within like 20 minutes of Manhattan. But since I'm like, I expect that I'll be living in Manhattan for at the very least a very long time, I'm going to say all non-revs, which is funny because in the past I would have said definitely football, because like in the past I was like lifelong goal, like get a suite in the West Stadium Center. But like as I've gotten older, I realized I actually prefer sitting in the lower bowl in section 23. Like that, I think those are the best seats in the house when it comes to combining your view and your atmosphere. Because the west side, like you can get some better angles if you get the 50, but it's kind of dead over there sometimes. Section 23, you're right by the student section, so it's pretty high energy the whole time.
Next question. What do you put on your hot dogs? I'm either a ketchup or a plain guy unless there is like nacho cheese around. Then very occasionally I will get the nacho cheese.
Yeah, I do ketchup. I do love a good chili dog though, chili cheese dog. I can go for that. They're having a gas station food night at Parkside Station this weekend. They're gonna have chili cheese dogs there, so I will be procuring a chili cheese dog from Parkside Station this weekend. Which I normally don't eat hot dogs anyways, unless I'm like at a sporting event.
Yeah, I'm very much the same, but like the ballpark hot dogs are they always Next question from Scott. If I actually pushed myself while I was in school and went to law school, what sort of law would I have been best at practicing? Ooh. I know about secret day job, which may or may not still be secret day job. And that makes me think copyright law. However, do I really see Scott Wildcat copyright lawyer? And the answer is not really. He would almost have to.
You know, a weird one I could see him doing is plaintiff's attorney for constitutional rights violations. Like I don't know why that jumps out to me, but I could see Mr. Scott Wildcat being a defender of a person's constitutional rights.
So like KHRC or
not necessarily. I mean, like equal protection, like violations, like more discrimination based, or like First Amendment violations by the government or something like that. So
okay, yeah, I'd go. I'm gonna have to stick with my original answer. It's not copyright law, but the first thing that came to mind was retained counsel for not like a utilities company, but a moderately sized LLC.
Yeah, that could be another thing is a business formation. It's probably something I'll be doing a little bit of, but don't really see him doing criminal prosecution or defense.
No.
There's like a pretty narrow band of people that do that, but there's a lot of them. So like they're mostly covered. Like it seems like in that area, particularly in prosecution, but because nobody wants to be a public defender for some reason.
Like, yeah, well, I mean, they did recently just up the.
That's true. It's kind of becoming public defenders are kind of seeing a resurgence right now, like on the low. Like, there's a lot of people in my. I say a lot. There's at least a few people in my class. I think they're going to be public defenders, but.
I just think it's interesting that you and I went to the exact same law school, took most of the exact same classes. We could not be doing more different areas of law.
Yeah, but some of it is also just like what works in your schedule. Like there were some classes I wanted to take that I wasn't able to take. He could be a sports agent as well. That's
one that I was debating, but
it's like I don't know. I like we both really like sports, and we're not even going close to that. So.
Yeah. God, that sports law final kicked my ass, dog.
That was a shocker of a final. Like I'm not looking forward. Well, it'll curve, but
like there are multiple people. I guarantee you that like half the class did not finish that final.
So I finished, but like just barely. So yeah, that was a rough one.
Anyway, law school lore. But next question from Scott: what is the ideal temperature in your home? 71.
70. I mean, if money's not an object, I'd say like 65. Like if like energy output and like money like just like wasn't an issue. But best I can do is 70. Generally, the colder the better.
Yeah. Even if money wasn't an object, I'd still probably only go down to like 69, 70. Just because it doesn't help that Deanna gets cold very easily.
That's the worst. I'm so sorry.
It happens. What are you personally doing to sabotage the Seattle WNBA franchise? I'm not even bothering knowing their name. That's where I'm at.
Or like the Seattle idiots. I bet that's
real.
Seattle morons. So, What am I personally doing? I'm putting together a team.
It's called the K-State Wildcats.
Yeah. Yeah, and through the power of friendship and belief and the community of sports, we're going to take down Seattle.
Marquisha Noel is joining the team.
I can't wait, man.
What's your go-to fast food order? I'm assuming that this is like general, like you're going to a fast food place. What's the thing that you're probably going to be most likely to order? That would be chicken sandwich. No, nothing except for cheese and mayonnaise with fries and a Dr. Pepper.
If we're going to a specific place, it's probably a box combo with no slash or fries, cans. But I'd say generally, I'm probably getting a cheeseburger, just ketchup on it. I don't like lettuce, tomato, like pickle, because to me, like it just messes with the flavor of what I'm there for, which is the patty and the cheese. So
I'm going to get called a child for this because I've done it multiple times in my life. I don't like lettuce. I just don't like the texture of it. It's not a flavor thing, it's a texture thing. And I know that's like become a joke. No, that's not a joke for me. Like I cannot stand the texture of lettuce.
Yeah. I don't like lettuce mainly because it has zero nutritional value. Like it does literally nothing for me. Like unless I'm having a salad, which in that case it's like you're consenting to lettuce at that point. But
you're coming to the nuisance at that point.
Yeah, that attractive nuisance even. But no, it's I would say, yeah, I'm not a big lettuce guy either. But if I have the option of like some spinach or like arugula on a burger, I'm good with that. Like because that adds some flavor and I think the texture's better. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's also food hot take I have. I do also prefer spinach over lettuce.
Yeah, I mean, like, I totally do as well. Like, if I can get spinach instead of lettuce with something, I much prefer that. It's generally not really an option, though, but I do like spinach. Spinach is pretty good. Superfood.
Y'all ever watch Popeye? Anyway, what traditional Bosco's Boys Blitz Month question are you stressing the most? Defensive breakout. That was the immediate question that came to my mind because I don't think any of the transfers count. I don't think that Ryan Davis should count, but he's immediately going to say like, okay, that's the popular, like how it was Felix a few years ago. He's immediately going to say, oh, well, that's the popular answer. So he's going to make us pick something else. I don't think Toby really counts because of how many snaps he got last year.
No, he was a starter.
Zashawn Rich started the bowl game and should have been the defensive MVP. So like, you're running really thin on names that are not already proven commodities.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. I keep swinging back and forth on Big 12 championship because I do think K-State will make it. I know you're not a Sawyer Robertson believer, but I kind of am. Like I'm kind of drinking the Kool-Aid there. But with Baylor, that's what I said on the Around the Horn episode for Bosco's Boys, and I think I'd still lean that way today. But like, I think it's a big question mark though, because like I don't know, like what's their running back situation going to be? Because you and I talk about it, but Baylor, Dave Aranda has an obsession with true freshman running backs and then like tossing them aside by the time they become juniors. Like Dawson Pendergrass is breaking out. Nope, he's gone. Richard Reese was breaking out. Nope. Nothing there. Bryson Washington, you're next, buddy. Like you're about to see a sharp reduction in carries this year. Never see the field as a junior and then transfer. I'm so sorry. That's just the Baylor pattern. But I don't know. Now that Dave Aranda seems to have found some of his mojo back from 2021, like they might be forced to reckon with again. I don't know. But like Big 12 champion opponent for K-State. Like, that's going to be my tough one, I think.
What's your favorite salad? I don't know, like a normal Caesar salad, except for replace the lettuce with spinach. I don't even know if it counts as a salad anymore.
I'm sure it counts. The regular Caesar counts. I think it would count with spinach, but I'm a big fan of. I'm like most restaurants seem to have these now, but where it's got like strawberries and then like feta cheese and chicken and like candied like pecans or something like that. I'd say that's like far and away my go-to. Like any other salad, I'm like just gonna kind of be picking at it, but like that sort of salad, like I'll have all of it for sure. My favorite.
Next question. What is your slightly too early Big 12 football preseason poll? Let me get a list of the Big 12 schools up really quick, because I feel like that's critical to answering this question.
You know, I think that's fair because you don't want to forget somebody.
Yeah. So preseason, I think K-State probably should be the favorite. So I put them at number 1. Probably, I feel like BYU has justified themselves as being number 2, as much as they annoy me. Then
keep in mind, Retzloff, he got in some trouble. He might be gone, dude.
Well, he wasn't good.
That is true, but then that raises the question of how bad is the person behind him. So,
oh god, good point. I still think I'll stick with it. Arizona State 3, followed extremely closely by Texas Tech, Iowa State. I think that Baylor and Baylor and did I say Iowa State? Oh God, would have skipped to last. I really do think that. I think that last is going to be a battle between Arizona. I think last is going to be a battle between Arizona and TCU, maybe Utah. I think West Virginia. The problem is that I think most of these teams end up bowl eligible, and I don't think the KU is going to be as horrendously bad as. I think that they're one of the teams I don't think ends up bowl eligible, but I think that they end up as like a 5-7 team.
Yeah, like I think you're right on KU. I think it's not going to be like as like absurdly unlucky as it was last year. I think it's going to be more of just like a straight up 5-7 as opposed to like a devil magic 5-7. But no, I'm with you. Like they've got KU like I think 7.5 wins, which I'm taking the under pretty hard on that because like I just don't think they replaced the lost talent well enough. Like they'll still be well coached, but like I don't see it with them. Yeah, of course the Cats at the top, but after that, like Baylor, Arizona State, BYU, Texas Tech is supposed to be good, but like again, like Texas Tech has been the underdog sleeper. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't pick like every year the last like 3 years now. And despite how much money they spent on getting really talented players in the transfer portal, they're still building around Baron Morton. So that hasn't changed. So I'm skeptical of the Red Raiders. But then Baylor, I think, should be up there. Iowa State will probably be. Utah, I do like Dampier, their quarterback at. I watched a couple of New Mexico games, and I liked Dampier. But Colorado's going to take a step back. Cincy probably won't be good. UCF's going to struggle. Houston will take a step forward, I think. But then at the bottom, you're going to have like Arizona, West Virginia probably, Oklahoma State. But then again, you know, it's an odd year for Oklahoma State, so they might go to the Big 12 championship again. this year.
So, sort of bouncing off of this question, if you had to pick one or two schools that you think are most eligible to surprise people, who would you pick?
To surprise people might be good.
I'm not talking like Arizona State. They were picked last this last year and ended up in the conference championship. But maybe a team that's like they're projected to be bad, but you think that they'll end up pretty decent. I have my two answers off the rip.
Shoot, man.
You want me to give mine?
Yeah, you give yours. Yeah.
Willie Fritz terrifies me.
Yeah.
At Houston. Because even last year they weren't out of many games, and of course they beat K-State because Willie Fritz devil magic. And then I think I think UCF honestly has a chance to be not great, but like passable. Because I think that I'm not saying that they'll just Scott Frost will completely recapture what he did at UCF, but I think that he'll do a better job like culturally than Gus Malzahn did. And that's no disrespect to Gus Malzahn, because I actually think that he's a pretty solid coach who just for some reason kept getting horrendously unlucky. But yeah, my number one answer is Houston, because God, Willie Fritz terrifies me.
Yeah, I think that's probably a clear number one. Other than that, Baylor, like, even though I keep talking about them as like a Big 12 contender, I don't think most people are really buying it with them. So I think that they're going to go from a team that I think a lot of people see as like middle of the pack to like contending in like the last like 2 weeks of the season at the very least. But we'll see. As for teams I think that people think will be good, that won't be, like Texas Tech probably has to top the list just because it's a like show me like a reason to feel differently about them at this point, like kind of deal. Because we've heard it before with Texas Tech and it just hasn't materialized. But other than that, KU, because like they're projected 7.5 wins, and it's like I don't know about that, man. Like they really did not reload at receiver very well. Like Jalen Daniels is still a glass boy. Pretty much all of their talented players like are gone. So I don't see it.
No. Does K-State basketball make the tournament? I guess when we land PJ Haggerty. Yes, I'm sadly interested in the team again. I am prepared to be hurt once more. Yes, if it's a trade for Doug McDaniel from PJ Haggerty, apparently Haggerty isn't a head case, so he already has that. I think the expectation should be making the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and I think that's how I'm going to word it too, is they should. I don't feel confident enough at all to say they will, because like, we know how that's gone the last couple years. So like we have the backcourt to do it, like because Haggerty is like going to be the lead guard extraordinaire that Jerome Tang kind of has to have. Driscoll is coming in. I hope, fingers crossed, that he's going to revamp the offense and make it good. Then other than that, like Nate Johnson, like really good ad. He wouldn't have been my first choice as lead guard, but he doesn't have to do that anymore because now he's going to be our top defender. Like he's going to get the top defensive assignment night in, night out, and that's going to save PJ Haggerty's legs. And then Andre Kostic, like that dude is getting some like NBA draft buzz now. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do as a freshman, as an international player. So Tyreek Smith, hope he gets his waiver, and Kamari McGriff, I hope he doesn't suck, because we need some tall players that can defend the post. So
just find some random guy on campus who's like 6'6".
I was driving the other night and I saw a really tall guy walking around, like kind of northwest of the stadium, like those neighborhoods. So I may try and find him again.
Send a referral.
It's like, hey, you're tall.
You want to play basketball?
Here, there's a scholarship available.
Next question. Is Ace Edwards redundant because the E in Ace stands for Edwards? This is the same argument that he tried making for Jack Caglione, which, by the way, shout out Jack Caglione for making the majors. That's exciting. If you want to be technical, yes, it is redundant. It's like saying ATM machine. You're saying machine twice. However, once you've sort of transferred the name into, once it becomes a nickname for something, I feel like it's justified, because most people don't even really know that my name is Austin, and it's just kind of easier and shorter to say Ace.
Yeah, like it throws me off when people call you Austin to your face.
When they invoke the government name, it is weird.
Like, hey, Austin, I'm like, that's not his name. Leave him alone. You don't know him. You're not his friend. But yes, it is redundant, but who cares? I guess. I don't know.
Scott Wildcat, apparently.
I guess so. Scott's got it out for us. But yeah, man, he got a lot of questions, though. Well, yeah, he's out for you. He likes me. Sorry.
Who will be your second favorite K-State football player this year? I'm assuming he thinks the first is Avery Johnson, which, fair guess. It's true in my case. But, I mean, it's still Ryan Davis. I love Ryan Davis, man.
It might be Garrett Oakley for me. I think a lot of it just has to do with, like, I don't know, it's like when a scout like finds a gem, it's like that's their guy for the rest of the time, even if it's like irrational. And it's like, yeah, Garrett Oakley is like my guy for all eternity now. So it's like, because I thought the 2-star tight end that weighed like 180 pounds could be something. So, and he's already like third all time in like receiving touchdowns for a tight end at K-State, because we've had like 2.5 good tight ends. So
Riley Moore is a sleeper there.
if he'd been here longer, then yeah, like he'd have the stats.
Just pure talent. He's a sleeper there.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. Pure talent for sure. A very okay UFL career for our guy Riley Moore.
Complete aside, how upset were you / are you that Garrett Oakley never develops in CFB 25?
Yeah, that did make me kind of sad. You're right, he never develops. But you know what? That's a problem with the game, not with Garrett. So I can't let the opinions of Philistines bother me too much.
I am excited for CFB 26. It took 2 words for me to get excited, and that was formation subs. So the next question is, are you in favor of more 4-down alignment on defense this year? In principle, yes. To me, I'm going to give you the law school answer of it depends, because it depends on which team we're playing. Weirdly enough, I kind of prefer – I've sort of grown on the 3-3 alignment. I will not budge on 3 safeties or the 3 high safety alignment. That will not be changing.
Yeah, the stack. Yeah, that is kind of rough.
Yeah, no, I will not be changing my opinion on the 3 high, 3 stack safeties. I will not be changing that. But I think that it has merit, especially with how the defensive end room in particular has sort of panned out, because you do have a pure speed rusher in Tobias and Sonmi. You do have Chidi Obiizor, who can kick inside, play 3-tech and a 4-down. Damian Ilalio, I still think, can play as a shade technique in pass rush situations. And then that last one you can sort of deploy as a wild card, be it Davis, Allen, Stufflebean. The reason I am in favor of it comes down to personnel, because I like our defensive line more than I like our linebackers. But if we're talking about pure schematics, I would sort of go with the hybrid 3-3 that Georgia popularized, where it's that you do have that normal 3-man surface, but you have the walked up linebacker.
Yeah.
But in principle, I like the 4 down more.
Yeah. I generally on defense am a proponent of if you can be multiple, like, and like have some like different techniques that you can go to and like not have to make it be a massive halftime adjustment, which like I think that's kind of where we've been burned a little bit in the past, because I think people forget we ran a 4-2-5 throughout most of Snyder 2.0, and our pass coverage sucked. It was bad. And like the switch to 3-3-5 was to help with that. And like it's been better situationally, but ultimately it's a philosophical difference in how we play our safeties and like how we're really aggressive on biting on the run. And that's biting us in the deep play action game sometimes. Like that's just a fact of it. Like we're going to bet on college quarterbacks to hit deep shots. And unfortunately last year that happened a lot. And that was paired with some subpar safety play at times. But no, I'm with you as well on the defensive end room being like kind of a good reason to go to more 4 down, because there's like 7 or 8 guys in that room that can play. In 3-3-5 you have 2 defensive end spots, but you go to a 4 down 3 tech spot, you have a few guys that can play it, like Stuffelbean or GDOB Izor, and that gives more snap availability for the other guys in the defensive end room. If there's a position you want to keep fresh for late game situations and like a close game, like you want your edge rushers to be fresh because the tackles are going to be exhausted on the offensive side. So yeah, I think it's a totally valid idea, and yeah, you want to be able to show multiple fronts and be effective in them. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you can be multiple, be multiple. Next question, which is the end of the Scott Wildcat directly, and then we get into the Bosco's Boys questions. Over under 1.5 helmets this football season. So do we wear alternate once? Yeah, probably for the bowl game.
Yeah, I'll say yes as well, if for no other reason than wishful thinking. Like I do think it's a little sad that the only way we were able to get a slight alteration was because the senior class begged for it in the bowl game. But yeah, I would like to see a switch up with the helmets one way or another. Like it may help to just wear alternates in like an actual in-season game until we win a game in them. Like that might be the best thing that we can do.
Don't do it against Army.
No, definitely not Army. I'm not superstitious normally, but I want nothing with alternate uniforms against Army. Like I know people are always talking about they're focused on the helmets and uniforms and not preparation, but like actually that week I do genuinely want the defense like chained like to the film room. Like I don't want them to even think about putting on helmets. I just want like our equipment staffers to like put the helmets on for them. Like they're like watching film with like
they got feeding tubes.
Yeah, like absolutely like no distractions that week, please.
So last questions are from Bosco's Boys. Got 3 more here. What is your favorite and least favorite part of the fan experience at K-State sporting events? Favorite will almost always be the pregame packages put together by the K-State media team, no matter the sport. Close second is the PA announcer for all except one sport. I will not be naming the sport out of respect for the man who does it. Least favorite is close games that just don't have the vibes of a close game because people either leave or they're not getting loud. Like that annoys me. Like that pisses me off.
No, I like that choice there. Yeah, I like the pregame stuff in stadium as well. The only thing is that the timing is like kind of off for football, where it's like sometimes like we're getting like energy is building in the crowd, and then there's just like 45 seconds of dead space, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll twiddle my thumbs and think about like what we could be watching right now.
He wanted us to say Wildcat or the Wildcat March, I guarantee you.
Oh, well, that was my next thing, was
Yeah.
Wildcat March. Like, I was getting to that. So I was building energy for it. So, but no, Wildcat March sucks. It, like, you want to talk about building energy, like, and the total opposite, Wildcat March sucks. Like, we really, I don't want to be the one to do it because I respect Dr. Frank Trace, but someone needs to sit him down and say, Frank, John Philip Sousa just wrote Wildcat March at the top of a piece of music that he was about to throw away. It does not matter and it sucks. Stop playing it.
No,
and if he really wants to play it, they can go out on the field like right when the gates open, like when there's like 18 people in the stadium, and they can play it then.
That can be your sound check song.
Yeah, that would be fine, but not for actual pregame stuff. So, frankly, I would shorten it just a little bit, which Wildcat March, getting rid of that would do it.
Next question. If you could add anyone from the last 5 K-State football teams to the season's roster, who would you choose? Cooper Beebe? It's not hard. That's extremely easy for me. I've thought about Felix. Defensive end room's too good. There's no linebacker that I could think of that would be good enough to justify putting there. Outside corner, I think, will be fine, so I wasn't going to put Julius Brents. I think this is probably the best group of safeties that K-State has had. Quarterbacks obviously figured. Running backs obviously figured. Receiver, I'm at least interested in what they can do. So that really just left. Okay, we need another offensive lineman. Why not get the best offensive lineman in K-State history?
Yeah, Cooper Beebe is an easy one. I totally agree. I'm picking that. Running backs, obviously Dylan Edwards and Joe Jackson, I think, are like both really good running backs, but like Deuce Vaughn was just like a force of nature, and like I'll just throw him in there as well. It's like I would love to see Deuce Vaughn and Dylan Edwards on the field at the same time. So
with Avery,
yeah, why not? Like, let's just make life just unbearable for some defenses. But beyond that, I'm thinking like maybe Timmy Horn, a defensive tackle, just a little extra depth there to keep those guys fresh. I am going to take Julius Brents, even though I do like our corners, then Russ Yeast.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat, though, on linebackers, where I was like, oh, yeah, I should add a linebacker. And I was like, oh, never mind. It's like the only one I think I would add would be Daniel Green, but like we have Austin Romaine, and Daniel Green's not an outside linebacker. Neither is Austin Romaine. So,
would Jake Clifton count?
You can take him if you want.
I'm not gonna. I'm just curious if he'd count.
Well, he was a player from the last 5 years, so I suppose he does. Oh, Chris Tennant. I'm adding Chris Tennant, I think. Not because I don't believe in Cub Patton to be the next great K-State kicker, but because Chris Tennant's a sure thing. And we're going to have a kicker battle coming into the year, and I don't want to think about sending out a true freshman kicker for like a go-ahead field goal. So,
sleeper answer, Randon Plattner.
Honestly, with how our process has been, they're not even a bad option. So,
final question of the QnA anniversary special. What is your way too early prediction on the K-State men's basketball Big 12 finish? Tie 7th.
Ty Bowman.
Tie 7th, but with winning a road game that they really shouldn't, and then getting assassinated on because the Big 12 is going to be a gauntlet no matter what. And I think ultimately what it comes down to, the difference ends up being coaching. And I think we have a lower Big 12 tier coach with an upper Big 12 tier mid to upper Big 12 roster, I think it averages out to where you'll finish just above average, but that's enough to make the tournament.
I have no idea. I don't think they're going to finish last.
No.
There's no way this team's finishing last, knock on wood, because I think they are too talented to finish last. I think that this is a better constructed team. I think this is probably actually the best roster construction that we've had in the Jerome Tang era, other than maybe year one. But a lot of that has to do with the fact he had 2 All-Americans that kind of cover up everything else.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, gosh, our backcourt's fantastic, I think, on paper. And yeah, like, the front court, like the bigs, like, there's some question marks there. But, like, if you're going to pick a spot to, like, not be 100% sure, like, between guards and big guys, like, I'm taking big guys to have the question marks, because you need to have great guards in college basketball to win. And that's what we went out and did. We went and got Kostic, we went and got Haggerty, and we got Nate Johnson, like, and Bashir as well. Like, that's 4 guards that are going to provide at least something for K-State. And 3 of them, I think, are going to be starter contending for all Big 12 at minimum. Like, Bashir's kind of the wild card there. This is a lot of words to say I still don't really know, so I'm just going to take Ace's answer, because, like, I'm flying back and forth between, like, wanting to rely on the last couple years to inform, like, pessimism, and also, like, actually feeling kind of optimistic about the roster, like, despite knowing better. So
despite knowing better.
So I it's going to take me a while to get a handle on how I actually feel about this roster. Some of that may come down to if we end up adding another big man, which, like, if that happens, then maybe I'll just throw caution to the wind, like, and say Crazy Faith one last ride.
Oh my God.
Just see what happens.
Wildcat country, let's ride.
I don't know where we're riding, but my eyes will be closed during it, and I will just blindly believe.
Yeah. Anyway, do you that's all the questions. Do you have any final notes other than this has been a pretty fun year, and I'm really excited for how the next 2 episodes, which have been recorded for about a week now, well, 2 weeks for one of them, turn out.
Yeah, I'm super excited for those as well. Some of my favorite episodes, I think, that we've done, because those episodes are generally my favorites that we do anyways. And we had a pretty fun format with a good guest this year. But thank you to everybody that's sending questions.
Yeah. And thank you all for joining us on this another year of fun Alleycat content. And thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. If you want to follow or contact the show, you can follow us just about anywhere at Aggieville Alleycats. And if you want to email us, we're AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I am at ACEdwards00.
I am at Connor Baltazar, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store. Link found in our podcast and Twitter bio. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. For come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.